When the phone rang in the smoke-filled meeting room at the Waldorf Astoria, Lucky Luciano was twirling poker chips between his fingers. He picked up the receiver. The voice on the other end would destroy 25 years of partnership with 8 words. "Charlie, I had to sell you out." The tremor in Meyer Lansky's voice wasn't just a betrayal. It was a ticking time bomb planted at the foundation of everything Luciano had built, and the fuse had been lit. Character introduction and context. On that cold February night in 1946, Salvatore Lucky Luciano was the invisible king of New York. His name rarely appeared in newspapers. His photographs seldom published, because Luciano had discovered the most dangerous form of power, invisibility. While other gangsters strutted around in flashy suits, he walked in gray flannel jackets and plain ties. He used fake names, checked into hotels as Mr. Ross, sat at back tables in restaurants. But this wasn't a show of humility. It was Luciano's strategy. If they can't see you, they can't hit you. 5 men attended the meeting at the Waldorf that night. Frank Costello sat to his left, chain-smoking at typing speed. Vito Genovese leaned against the wall in the corner, silently watching everyone as always. Joe Adonis and Albert Anastasia were talking quietly by the window. And Meyer Lansky, Meyer had stopped being Meyer. When the phone rang, it was exactly 11:47 p.m. Luciano would remember it to the second, because like every critical moment in his life, this one would carry a timestamp. Rehook #1 800th character. But the voice on the phone was unexpected. Meyer Lansky, Luciano's closest partner, his financial genius, the man known as the mob's accountant, the man they'd fought shoulder to shoulder with for 25 years, was betraying him. "Charlie, listen to me." Lansky's voice trembled. Luciano could hear it. "Fear? Shame? Both? Dewey's office cornered me. They threatened my family. They're going to shut down our businesses. They didn't leave me a choice." Luciano said nothing. He just listened, because one of Luciano's rules was, if you can't understand your enemy's plan, you can't make your countermove. Meyer continued, "I have to testify against you about the waterfront operations. Those deals during the war, they know everything, Charlie, everything. And if I don't talk Anne, the kids, I'll stop being the man you know." Luciano set the poker chip down on the table, very slowly, very controlled. Everyone in the room noticed this movement. Frank Costello put out his cigarette. Vito Genovese stopped leaning against the wall. Everyone understood. The storm was starting. Real tension begins. Meyer Luciano's voice was low. He didn't yell, didn't curse, just said his name. But in that single word was the weight of 25 years of partnership. "Where are you right now?" "I'm at the plaza, room 1147. Charlie, please understand. Be in the lobby in 8 minutes. Alone. Don't tell anyone." "Charlie, 8 minutes, Meyer?" To the second. The line went dead. The silence in the room was suffocating. Frank Costello was the first to dare speak. "Charlie, this could be a trap. Dewey could grab you." Luciano shook his head. "Meyer Lansky has known me for 25 years. If he was setting a trap, he wouldn't call me to the plaza. He'd be smarter." He stood up, put on his coat. "But he betrayed me. And betrayal has a price." Vito Genovese stepped forward. "I'll come with you." "No." Luciano's tone was final. "This is my business, between Meyer and me." Albert Anastasia, the room's most violence-prone man, asked with a cold smile, "What are you gonna do, Charlie? You want me to finish him? If we do it in the plaza lobby, everything looks clean. A fight, an accident." Albert Luciano turned, his eyes ice cold. "If I solved every problem with violence, this room would be empty right now, and I'd be rotting in Sing Sing. Killing Meyer is easy. But fixing this situation, that takes brains." Dishing Hook #2400th character. But the truly shocking part wasn't the decision Luciano made in that moment. It was the moves he would make in the next 8 seconds that would rewrite the rules of modern organized crime. The journey in emotional depth. In the back seat of the Cadillac heading to the Plaza Hotel, Luciano traveled back 25 years, 1920, Lower East Side. Back then, they were just Charlie and Meyer, the Italian immigrant kid and the Polish Jewish kid, 2 boys from different worlds who spoke the same language. Meyer worked magic with numbers. "Charlie, listen," he'd said once, drawing calculations on a napkin. If we open 3 gambling houses in each neighborhood, we make $50,000 a week. But if we pay the cops $10,000 and clean out the competition, we make $80,000. Profit isn't just about making money, it's about controlling the system. Luciano understood that day. Meyer Lansky wasn't a partner. He was a weapon that calculated, analyzed risk, saw the mathematics behind every operation. And now that weapon had turned on him. When the Cadillacs stopped in front of the plaza, it was exactly 12:03 a.m., 8 minutes. Luciano never arrived late, because losing timing meant losing control. Critical scene in 8 seconds. Meyer Lansky was in the lobby, sitting in a corner chair, head down. When Luciano saw him, he stopped. For just a moment, only a moment, he considered forgiving him, because Meyer wasn't just a partner. He was a brother. One of the rare people Luciano trusted. But then he remembered, trust is given to a man once. There are no second chances. Luciano walked slowly closer. When Meyer lifted his head, his face was ashen, his eyes were red. He'd been crying. Meyer Lansky, the mob's accountant, the cold, emotionless man, had been crying. Charlie, his voice cracked. Luciano sat in the chair across from him, said nothing, just looked, locked his eyes onto Meyer's. And that's when it began. 8 seconds. Second one, Luciano didn't speak, just looked. Meyer knew this look. The decision moment look. The look when Luciano decided whether to forgive someone or not, whether to end a partnership or not, whether to let someone live or die. Second two, Meyer opened his mouth. Charlie, please understand. Luciano raised his hand. Don't speak. Silence. Second 3, Luciano saw Meyer's hand reaching into his pocket, very slowly. Would a gun come out? A document? Meyer pulled out an envelope, placed it on the table, trembling. Second 4. Luciano didn't open the envelope, just looked. On the envelope was a name, Ann Lansky, Meyer's wife's name, Charlie. Meyer's voice dropped to a whisper. You know what's inside. Second 5. Luciano understood. Dewey's office hadn't just threatened Meyer. They'd taken his family hostage. Classic move. Talk, or your family suffers. Luciano knew this tactic. He'd used it himself. Second 6. Luciano picked up the envelope, opened it. Inside was a single photograph, Ann Lansky and 2 children, in a park. On the back, handwriting. Beautiful family, would be ashamed to lose them. Second 7. Luciano placed the photo on the table, fixed his eyes on Meyer, and spoke. Meyer, I'm going to ask you one thing, just one thing, and your answer will change everything. Second 8. What did you tell Dewey before you came to me? Drehhook #3 my 5200th character. This is where everything changed, because the answer Meyer Lansky would give would determine not just his own life, but the future of the entire New York underworld. Meyer's confession. Meyer swallowed. Nothing. I said nothing. Yet, I'm supposed to give my statement tomorrow morning. But I wanted to come to you, because, he stopped. The words caught in his throat. Because, Luciano's voice was motionless, neither angry nor soft, just waiting. Because if I'm going to betray you, I wanted to at least look you in the eyes when I said it. Tears streamed from Meyer's eyes. Charlie, for 25 years I've done everything for you. Kept the books, made the plans, managed the cops, stood beside you. But if I can't protect my family, then what was the point of any of it? Luciano bowed his head. For a moment he just thought the people in the lobby had noticed them. 2 men, sitting quietly in a corner. No one knew that the conversation between these 2 men was drawing the fate of a multi-million-dollar empire. Then Luciano spoke. Meyer, I'm going to tell you a story. Luciano's lesson building emotional connection, 1931. Do you remember when Maranzano wanted to kill me? Meyer nodded. I remember he called you to the boss of bosses meeting. If you'd gone, you would have been killed. Yes. Luciano narrowed his eyes. I didn't go to that meeting because you warned me. Thanks to your calculations, I figured out Maranzano's plan 48 hours early. And do you know what I did? Meyer waited. I didn't kill Maranzano right away. First I protected his family, moved his wife and children to a safe place because Maranzano was an enemy, but his family wasn't. And I don't destroy a man because of his family. Meyer's face changed. A spark of hope. Luciano continued. Meyer, Dewey cornered you, but you forgot something. Dewey is just a prosecutor. But me, I built a system. And in this system, families are untouchable. The solution move might rehook, #4. But Luciano's next move was something no one could have predicted. He pulled a phone number from his pocket, handed it to Meyer. Whose number is this? Meyer looked, didn't recognize it. Where Anne is right now. 3 prosecutors are watching her. But they don't know that one of those prosecutors is our man. Meyer's mouth fell open. Luciano continued with a cold smile. Meyer, the moment you hung up that phone, I went into action. Anne and the kids are in the safe house in the Bronx right now. Dewey's men are following a decoy. By tomorrow morning, they'll learn your family is safe. How did you move so fast? Because I'm Lucky Luciano, Meyer, and in my system, before betrayal is planned, the rescue plan is already made. Rehook #5 minus 8000th character. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet, because what Luciano told Meyer wasn't just a rescue operation, it was a move that flipped the entire game. Luciano's master plan. Luciano leaned forward. His voice lowered. Meyer, now listen to me very carefully. Tomorrow morning you're going to Dewey's office. Right on time. And you're going to tell him everything. Meyer was shocked. What? But what you're going to say is this. Lucky Luciano helped the American Navy during the war. He organized the dock workers, prevented sabotage, identified spies. Are these lies, Meyer? No, but so what will Dewey ask? He'll ask, what did he get in return? And what will you say? Meyer thought, he got nothing. He did it for his country. Exactly. Luciano leaned back. Dewey expects betrayal from you, but you're going to give him a hero story. And what will Dewey do? Either he'll believe your words or he won't. But either way, he has no proof, because the war documents are classified. The military won't talk, and you'll have just told the truth. Meyer's eyes widened. The plan was crystallizing. But Dewey threatened your family. If you say the right things, that threat becomes meaningless, because now your family is safe. And Dewey is a prosecutor. He can't act without evidence. Character transformation. For the first time that night, Meyer Lansky understood why Lucky Luciano was called Lucky. It wasn't luck. It was calculation. Planning. The ability to anticipate every possibility. Charlie, Meyer's voice trembled. Are you forgiving me? After a long silence, Luciano spoke. Meyer, forgiving you is easy for me. But can you forgive yourself? You considered ending 25 years of partnership with a phone call. That's your problem, not mine. Meyer bowed his head. I was scared, Charlie, just scared. Being scared is being human, Meyer. But acting out of fear, that's stupidity. I'm scared too, every day. I'm scared of the FBI, scared of rival families, scared of being betrayed. But I manage my fear. Fear doesn't manage me. Rehook #6 meter is 11,200th character. But the story doesn't end here, because what happened the next morning at Dewey's office would shake all of New York. The next morning, Dewey's office. When Meyer Lansky walked into Thomas E. Dewey's office, the prosecutor was sitting at his desk, smiling, a victory smile. Since you're surrendering, Lansky, things will move quickly. Meyer sat down. Mr. Dewey, I have things to tell you, but not betrayal. The truth. Dewey frowned. The truth? You mean Luciano's dirty dealings? No, the patriotic service Luciano performed during the war. Dewey laughed. Patriotism? A gangster? A patriot? Meyer calmly opened his file. Between 1942 to 1945, the American Navy feared sabotage in New York harbors. German submarines were landing spies on shore. Who stopped them? Dewey's laughter stopped. Lucky Luciano, using his influence over dock workers, he had every ship watched, marked suspicious individuals. Turned over 2 German spies to the FBI. What did he get in return? Nothing. He just did it for his country. Dewey slammed his fist on the desk. Nonsense. Do you have proof? It's in the military archives, but you can't access it. classified documents. But I can give you some names. Commander Charles Haffenden, Naval Intelligence. Talk to him. Dewey's shock moment. Dewey grabbed the phone, called his assistant, find Commander Haffenden, immediately. 2 hours later, the call came. Dewey's face was turning pale, because the naval commander confirmed what Meyer said. Luciano helped us during the war. I can't give details. It's classified, but there's a file. Dewey hung up the phone, looked at Meyer. This is a trap. No, Mr. Dewey, this is the truth, and now you're facing a choice. Either you put a war hero in prison and create a national scandal, or you close the file. Dewey's hand was shaking. He was thinking about his political career. He wanted to be governor, maybe president, but imprisoning a war hero, that would be political suicide. Get out, Lansky. Dewey's voice was tired. And tell Luciano, he got away with it this time. But next time. Meyer stood up. There won't be a next time, Mr. Dewey, because Lucky Luciano is always one move ahead. Rehook hash 713,800th character. What you're seeing now is nothing, because when Meyer walked out of that office, what awaited him would be a lesson he'd never forget for the rest of his life. Final scene 8 seconds later. When Meyer Lansky walked out of Dewey's building, Lucky Luciano was waiting on the sidewalk. He had a newspaper in his hand. The headline, War Hero or Gangster, Luciano file closed. Meyer froze. Charlie. This how? Luciano handed Meyer the newspaper. I gave you 8 seconds last night, Meyer. In 8 seconds I made my decision. You didn't sell me out, you were just scared. Fear is forgivable, but not forgettable. Meyer's eyes filled with tears. Luciano continued. This newspaper will be everywhere tomorrow. Dewey can't arrest me now, because public opinion says war hero. But I'm not the one who made this happen. Meyer, you are. You told Dewey the right thing, and truth is the most powerful weapon. Meyer spoke trembling. Why did you forgive me, Charlie? I was going to betray you. Luciano touched his shoulder. Because Meyer, betrayal is measured by action, not intention. You intended, but you didn't do it. You came to me, and that is loyalty. The two walked side by side, partners for 25 years. They never spoke of that night again. But that night, those 8 seconds changed both their lives. Closing Luciano Peak. Years later, Meyer Lansky would tell a reporter, Lucky Luciano forgave me once. And that forgiveness shaped the rest of my life. Because he taught me that power isn't in forgiving, it's in earning forgiveness. Luciano never spoke about that day, but those close to him knew Meyer Lansky, until the day he died, was Luciano's most loyal man, because true loyalty is earned after betrayal, not before. Final lines cliffhanger. And that February night, when they returned to the Waldorf Astoria, Vito Genovese asked, What happened, Charlie? Did we take care of Meyer? Luciano smiled. No, Vito, Meyer took care of me. The room was stunned, because he reminded me, sometimes your greatest enemy is your best teacher, and Meyer taught me something today. Fear tests loyalty, but forgiveness builds loyalty. Frank Costello lit a cigarette. What about Dewey? He'll come back. Luciano looked out the window. New York's lights were shining. Let him come, because now I'm not just a gangster. I'm a war hero, and heroes no one can touch. Everyone in the room understood. Lucky Luciano hadn't won the game in 8 seconds. He'd won the game before it even started. Final message. This story teaches us, power is not in taking revenge. Power is in forgiving when you could take revenge. Lucky Luciano wasn't just a gangster, he was a chess master. And that night, instead of losing his most valuable piece, he saved it and won the game. Did Meyer Lansky betray him? No, he showed fear. And fear is the most natural state of humanity. But Luciano taught him that when fear is managed, it becomes power. 8 seconds. One decision. One lifetime. When will your 8 seconds come? And will you choose forgiveness or revenge?